So the Mountains as Teachers outdoor education program gets students outside into the mountains. We have an amazing environment here with mountains, lakes, creeks, forest. And so we use this place as the environment for students to recreate and be outside. It's cross-curricular in that we try to teach lessons pertaining to social studies, so Aboriginal issues, archaeology. We look at geography issues, environmental issues, and it's experiential, so the students really get to experience being in a mountain environment.
So last year we went from Bonanza Beach at the top of Slocan Lake all the way down to the bottom.
We got to canoe almost a whole day and stop at things, so it was like a 3-4 day trip.
We camped. We did a few education days where we would go out and learn about the trees and like catalog a whole bunch of plants.
We looked at spiritual aspects of the lake and like how the Sinaiaks used it and like pictographs of the Sinaiaks and like just picturing what it would be like 10,000 years ago on this canoe trip.
In the morning, me and my friend Cypress would wake up really early and we'd go exploring on these huge rocks. They were big plains of rocks covered in moss and we just run along those. You get to actually experience things and it was exercise and I love being outdoors.
This winter we did a winter camping program and it was focused on winter recreation, winter safety, and winter survival.
The trip to Harlow Hut was a really cool experience, especially for a lot of people who hadn't backcountry skied before.
We were up there for 3 days, 2 nights.
We learned how to make snow caves, which was a really cool experience.
And our snow cave didn't collapse, so that was good.
It's probably the worst sleep in my life, but it was fantastic.
When we woke up, the roof was about an inch over our nose, but it stayed up.
We did some backcountry skiing, some backcountry tobogganing, and students came away from that with a completely different perception of what winter can be like in the Kootenays.
There was a lot to learn, like digging up firewood under like 6 or 7 feet of powder. People had to hike up and go get water from a creek and bring it down some sort of well. We also learned a lot about avalanche safety.
You have to dig like this huge hole and then like you cut like a little section and you tap, and the further you go down and the less that it fractures, the better skiing it is because there won't be as much of a risk of avalanche.
I actually made a lot of friends on the trip. Like, we'd sit around the fire every night. We made snow benches and, you know, it was like snow fire pits. So you dig a pit in the snow, then light your fire and put your sticks on top. It was pretty amazing.
In these outdoor programs, sometimes they're leaders, sometimes they're members of a team, but they all have responsibilities within whatever experience it is, whether it's paddling the lake, they could be responsible for navigating or finding the campsite or cooking the meals. It's a responsibility that if they don't live up to their end of the deal, their whole team suffers. So the leadership skills that are learned on these trips, they're real, they're first-hand experiences. So I think these experiences are really something that transforms student values.
This kind of learning, it speaks to me and it just like completely goes with who I am, because I'm definitely an outdoors person.
They've been the highlights of my years at Lucerne. Yeah, it's a lot about survival and actually getting to know our environment, the environment that we live in. Because we see it through windows, but when we go on these trips, we really experience it.
Students who take part in these programs learn humility because the mountains are so big and so powerful, and you feel so small when you're in them. Resilience, students have to work for hours and hours to get to the top of a mountain or to paddle the lake. It takes a lot of effort and a lot of work, and they get the rewards afterward. Respect, because students understand that mountain environments can be dangerous places, so students learn respect for the mountains and respect for their partners, their classmates. Just putting students in that environment helps them to learn in ways that you just can't learn in a classroom.
I actually like coming to school here. The teachers here just seem more actually interested in the students and what they have to say and how they're learning.
I think outdoor education and the Mountains as Teachers program really sets students up for success. If they feel like they can scale a mountain or paddle a lake or ski in the winter or survive in a snow cave, it really gives them confidence to know that when it comes to that homework assignment or applying for that first job or any kind of challenge that life brings, they've experienced an incredible, they've managed to overcome an incredible challenge already. And so if they can climb to the top of a peak, then they can handle anything that comes their way.